Good evening and a warm welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Ifoma Ojinta. And we begin on a cheery note. The anxiety resulting from the recent abduction of students of Government Girls Science Secondary School, Jangebe in Zamfara State, is now over as all the abductees have eventually regained their freedom. They were formally received this morning by Governor Bello Muhammad at Government House, Gusau. Sadia Abubakar to now has more.
And happiness for seeing the safe returns of these my children.
It was indeed a joyous moment for government and people of Zamfara State as the students of Government Girls Science Secondary School, Jangebe, abducted Friday last week, regained their freedom. The girls were joyfully received this morning by Zamfara State Governor Bello Muhammad alongside his wife Aisha Bello, heads of security agencies and some other officials at Government House Gusau. The governor said the girls were released late yesterday following a combined effort of security agencies, stressing that no ransom was paid to secure their release.
The numbers were kidnapped is 279 and no one was missing. All of the 279 are present here. This is how God worked for us.
He charged the young girls to consider the incident as something destined by Allah and should never discourage them to continue with their education pursuit.
We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this will be the first and the last. Sure. Not just for the president, but for the whole country, Nigeria.
One of the released captives who narrated their ordeals while in captivity said they had nearly given up.
It was a terrible experience indeed. We trekked barefooted for many hours into the bush. Some of us fainted along the way, and they carried them on their back. We were exposed to all sorts of torture. In fact, they even threatened to kill all of us. We cannot thank the Almighty Allah as well as the government enough for regaining our freedom.
Though most of the released teenagers look calm, some of them are battling with ailments and trauma resulting from the long hours of tracking and torture they were exposed to while in captivity. The anxiety that hitherto engulfed people in the state over the sad incident is now over as families of the released girls trooped to Government House Gusau to have a glimpse of the children.
Aisha, my honorable daughter. This is my honorable daughter.
The released students are to undergo medical checkup before reuniting with their families. In Gusau, Sadia Abubakar, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed overwhelming joy over release of abducted female students in Zamfara State. In a statement by Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President joins the families and people of Zamfara State in welcoming and celebrating the release of these traumatized female students. President Buhari said he was excited that their ordeal came to a happy end without any incident, adding that being held in captivity is an agonizing experience not only for the victims but also their families and the government. However, the president called for greater vigilance by the people so that human intelligence could be collected early enough to nip the bandits' plan in the bud. He warned that the time has come to reverse completely the grim and heartbreaking incidents of kidnapping. He warned that ransom payments will continue to prosper kidnapping, urging the police and military to go after these kidnappers and bring them to justice. And the All Progressives Congress has expressed joy over the release of students who were abducted from Government Girls Secondary School, Jangebe, Talata Mafra local government area of Zamfara State. Senator John Akpanu Doede, National Secretary Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the All Progressives Congress, in a statement, rejoiced with family members and loved ones over the safe return of the schoolgirls. The party commends all stakeholders for their selfless roles in securing the release of the schoolgirls and restates President Buhari's directive to subnational entities to provide adequate security in all schools within their areas of responsibility. The APC urged security service to unmask the criminal sponsors and enemies of Nigeria behind the wave of targeted attacks on educational institutions in the country. Meanwhile, Governor Bello Mohammed of Zamfara State said the abducted girls were released lately on Monday following a combined effort of security agencies and the repentant bandits. He said the actual number of abducted has now been confirmed to be 279 and not 317 as earlier reported.
We are taking them to go and rest for now. We have lodges in the government house. We are taking them there now. They have eaten. All of them they have eaten. Some of them even they take 2 times because some of them are very hungry. So they eat very well, and we are now taking them to go and rest with the medical teams so that they should be seeing them in their own apartment. So if they see them and examine them and making sure that they are fit to go anywhere, then we can release them back to their respective families.
I feel very happy and very elated, and I'm very sure that everyone, every mother today in the state is happy to see that these children are back and they look safe. Alhamdulillah, that is all that I can say. We thank God.
More proactive, decisive and robust plan of action have been unfolded by the National Security Council towards restoring security and stability across Nigeria, as well as nipping in the bud potential threats to peace and prosperity. Already, President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered the nation's military and intelligence community to trail, fish out and bring to justice all those directly or indirectly engaged in perpetrating acts of crime and criminality across the country, no matter how highly placed. The National Security Advisor, Babagana Mungono, who conveyed the President's directive to newsmen after an extraordinary meeting of the National Security Council, said Nigeria will not be allowed to drift to a state of failure.
Any individual who thinks he has any support and who thinks he can undermine this government, anybody, any human being, as long as he's a citizen of this country, any one person who thinks he's the cat's whiskers or he can be Rocky on the perch and lead us into a situation of unhappiness will have himself to blame at the end of the day. Already the President has given directives to the military and the intelligence organizations to trail and flush out all the people that have been on our watch list. And I can assure you there's quite a handful of people on our watch list. They will be trailed, they will be rooted out, and they will be brought to book, they will be prosecuted, and they will be made an example of. And anybody who wants to use this situation to blackmail the government should also think we will not allow this country to drift into state failure. And with effect from today, the new service chiefs have been given directives by the Minister of Defense, conveyed by the President to the Minister of Defense, to reclaim all areas that have been dominated by bandits, by kidnappers, and other scoundrels and scallywags. In doing so, I have also asked all the intelligence agencies to collapse all their efforts onto one platform so that with the convergence of effort, we would be able to give the required intelligence to the operational elements of government.
And now to legislative matters. The Senate has confirmed the nomination of the newly appointed service chiefs. The confirmation was sequel to the consideration and approval of the report of the Senate Committee on Defense on the screening of the 4 nominees: Major General Lucky Irabo as Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Ibrahim Attahiru, Chief of Army Staff, Rear Admiral Awal Gambo as Chief of Naval Staff, and Air Vice Marshal Isiaka Amao as Chief of Air Staff. The committee notes that there was no petition against any of the nominees and described them as qualified for the positions. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has also written to the Senate requesting the confirmation of the appointment of Halilu Ahmed Shaba as Director General of the National Space Research and Development Agency and the appointment of Muhammad Usman as Commissioner representing Niger State in the National Population Commission. And the House of Representatives has urged authorities to improve on welfare of security personnel, especially those in battlefield and other combat operations, during the consideration of the report by the House Committee on Army after an investigation revealed that more than 380 soldiers voluntarily resigned from service in 2020. The lawmakers also called for equitable delivery of welfare packages to beneficiaries. It may be recalled that in July 2020, following reports in some sections of the media of mass resignation from the army, the House mandated the relevant committee to carry out an investigation. Findings by the committee revealed that soldiers are free to resign if they served for at least 10 years and that such resignations occur on a yearly basis. Let's now go to Gusau, where the released schoolgirls are located, and Jamilu Ibrahim is there live. Now, Jamilu, tell us what is happening with the students now.
Well, as we reported earlier, these 279 girls that were received this morning by Zamfara State Governor Alhaji Bello Muhammad and security chiefs in the state, immediately after the speeches, these girls were conveyed to Zamfara State Government Lodge here in Government House, Gusau, for them to have enough rest and, of course, undergo medical check-up. In addition to medical check-up, we are also made to understand that they will also undergo effective counseling, as most of them are still traumatized, going by the torture and humiliation they underwent during the period they were with the bandits. This is the situation here in Gusau for now.
Thank you very much, Jamilu. And can you tell us, how are the girls feeling? Were you able to talk to any of them? Are they fine?
Most of them look calm and fine. Only few of them having some health challenges. They couldn't even walk out from the conference hall where they were received. They had to be aided for them to board the vehicle that conveyed them to Zamfara State Government Lodge. And this is obvious because they trekked for some hours before they reached their destination when they were abducted. And as one of them spoke on their behalf, when they were received by the governor, she told the gathering that they were exposed to all sorts of torture by the bandits. So some of them are currently battling with that trauma and some ailments resulting from the torture.
Thank you very much, Jamilu. We are indeed happy to have them back. Thank you very much. Now, moving on. Close to 400 bids have been received by the Inter-Ministerial Committee on the Disposal of Assets Forfeited to the federal government. The bids are from professional valuers who are expected to give the federal government value for money in the process of auction, Femi Okeowo reports.
The Inter-Ministerial Committee on the Disposal of Forfeited Assets to the federal government is domiciled in the Federal Ministry of Justice. But as the name of the committee goes, it has input from several other ministries and agencies of government. This aspect of the bid by estate surveyors and valuers is handled by the Federal Ministry of Works, the BPE, and other finance agencies. Chairman of the Interministerial Committee and Solicitor General of the Federation, Mr. Dayo Apapa, reiterated government's determination to make all processes leading to the disposal of the forfeited assets as transparent as possible.
The process which we are now is the valuation stage, in which all the assets has to be valued to reflect the market value, so that at the end of the day, the government would be selling or will be disposing all the assets within the framework of the value that can be ascribed to them.
Similar processes are expected to be adopted for the assets that are not yet in this bid. In Abuja, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
You're watching Nationwide. Let's now join Dotun from our Lagos Network Center for an update on COVID-19 violators and other reports. Hello, Dotun.
Thank you, Ifoma. Within 24 hours, the Nigeria Police Force Lagos State Command arrested 172 persons for defying COVID-19 protocols. It is a renewed rigor which the force is extending to ensure public compliance aside its primary responsibility of enhancing a crime-free society. Diana Ajale reports.
Despite the second wave of COVID-19 still being very much around, these young men and women reportedly gathered at Clubhouse in violation of safety protocols put in place by the federal government. They were picked up by the Lagos State Police Command team in Clubhouse in Victoria Island area around 3 in the morning over the weekend.
They violated the law of the state, and the law will take its course. That is, as they are here now, so they be charged to court, and whatever the court takes, so it's what we are going to comply.
As at the time of this report, the owner of the clubhouse where the arrests were made is still at large, but the police commissioner pledged that he will be apprehended and charged to court. He, however, wants the public to avoid all kinds of crimes and comply with the appropriate measures put in place by relevant authorities to curb the spread of coronavirus. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
As plans to enforce the electronic call-up system in Apapa intensifies, the joint enforcement team of the Nigerian Port Authority and the Lagos State government has given owners of shanties 6 days ultimatum to relocate or have their illegal structures pulled down. Musa Toliat reports.
The gridlock in Apapa has been dislodged few days after the launch of electronic call-up system by Nigerian Port Authority in collaboration with Lagos State government. Although residents within Apapa say sanity is also restored in some parts of the port, some trucks were however seen on some sections of the roads and bridges.
The e-call-up system has been deployed by the Nigerian Port Authority and is being enforced by the Lagos State Joint Task Force to dislodge the gridlock in and around Apapa Ports Complex. But as long as there is no free access for trucks that are presently parked on the bridge to have easy access into transit parks like this, enforcement definitely will be inevitable.
The transit truck park at Lily Pond has capacity to accommodate the trucks on the bridge at Marine Beach, but the thoroughfare is clogged by shanties.
People have seen this place as their homes, as their shops, as their shacks, where they have to stay all of the time. So when you remove them today, overnight, they are back there.
It is your responsibility as an usurper of the road to clear yourself out. So if you refuse to do the needful and you are expecting government to come and clear, then we will clear it in the language you understand.
Commissioner of Police Hakeem Odumosu took time out to brief the rank and file on effective collaboration with officials of LASMA in enforcement of traffic in Apapa.
Mine is that no extortion, no brutality, and no damage.
It is a success that we are all gunning for. There's no big LASMA, there's no small police.
More than 500 police rank and file, as well as LASMA officials, will be deployed to maintain and sustain sanity on the port access roads. In Lagos, Musa Toliad, NTA News.
Federal government's efforts to get more youths involved in agriculture, especially fish production, is gathering momentum with the introduction of a homegrown technology in fish smoking to stimulate the interest in the sector. Adeni Taiwo reports that the business that was carried out using unrefined method from time immemorial is now becoming attractive to youths who are leveraging on new technology.
Fish makes up 40% of protein intake in Nigeria, with available statistics indicating 13.3 kilogram fish consumption per person per year. It is also a means of livelihood for many who work in the fish value chain. As one of the age-long methods of preserving fish from decay and adding some flavor to it, smoking fish on a grill by exposing them to smoke from smoldering wood often leave those who do the processing with dirty soot, while there is also the risk of inhaling smoke that may damage the lungs and even cause cancer.
We discovered that so many people love smoked fish, despite the fact that the method of smoking it is not hygienic as it should be. The one you see in the market cannot be exported.
Sequel to its success in boosting fish production by facilitating youth involvement in aquaculture, the next intervention by the federal government is to tap into the abundant fish resources in the southwest and promote interest in modern and safer method of fish production using the smoking kiln technology.
You go to the supermarkets, you find it nicely packed. So why not? The youth that feels, oh, I want to do something special, I want to do something extra for myself, will definitely gain a lot, because by the time it is not messy.
Until now, Maureen Adebisi knew next to nothing about fish smoking, but that is about to change for her and 19 other women and youths drawn from Southwest Geopolitical Zone who are now undergoing a techno-entrepreneurship development training on fish smoking.
I should be able to know how to do the processing well and then have a nice packaging that even when others see, they will even be surprised to know that I did it myself.
And with this kind of business, to be an opportunity for me to start my own business on my own.
Just as hoped by the federal government, the participants are optimistic that the new fish smoking method will help to improve public health and boost rural and urban industrialization in the zone. In Lagos, Adini Taiwo, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Let's now take a break. Nationwide continues shortly.
I bring you wonderful news. The village headmaster is coming back to your screen. Mo wire abi mi o wire. Teacher yo mo, a fẹ́ lọ wá nǹkan jẹ. Teacher jọ̀wọ́, a fẹ́ lọ wá nǹkan jẹ. Ọmọ onírẹsì ti dé.
Go na better school for last gidi. Not be all this on a rugged school for Ijabi. I don't know for you.
Second, it's called Oja Village. Kadesi, we no happy at all.
And I know that even you too, you are getting a lot of orders. Hey, we are trying, shao. Sweep her leg out. She was standing there. Sweep it.
I love you so much.
And how did I give you the impression that I was interested in that position?
50-year anniversary.
You mean anniversary?
I talk with that now.
Not for me. Not for me because of Pamio.
Life is a game. We are cool. We are trendy. Energy moves us. Sports is our game, our oxygen. Because with the round leather, we ball. We hustle. All over the land, north and south, we are united in the positive glory. We are encapsulated by HIFL. We live for the game. It's game time. Showing on NTA Network.
After a tough loss in London last weekend, Burnley will take on another North London club as they seek to get back to winning ways. This Saturday, it's Burnley versus Arsenal on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 1 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Axis Bank, Bye Jebu, Lipton, and Close Up, in association with Gold.com.
Thanks for staying tuned. The federal government of Nigeria has taken delivery of 3,924 doses of Oxford AstraZeneca vaccines against COVID-19 from the COVAX facility. Kenneth Nanim reports that the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and Chairman PTF, Boss Mustafa, received the consignment on behalf of the federal government and through the Ministry of Health handed them over to the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency for onward certification by NAFDAC. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 received the first phase of the vaccines with excitement, describing the arrival as a milestone achievement in the national response to COVID-19 pandemic in the country.
I would urge, at the time of vaccination and deployment, if you fall into the category that will be vaccinated, make yourself available.
Ministers, international partners and other stakeholders acknowledge President Muhammadu Buhari for effective deployment of resources, as well as commended both international and domestic collaborations for successful acquisition of the vaccines.
We have to continue our surveillance, our lab, infection prevention and control, because we understand that it will take time to get all Nigerians vaccinated.
We're expecting up to 16 million doses from the COVAX facility, but this is going to be spread between now and the month of May. The 4 million doses we're getting today is just the first batch out of a large consignment that we'll be expecting in the next few months.
Once it gets to the warehouse, we're going to sample to be sure that what is coming from India is of quality.
The National Primary Healthcare Development Agency and NAFDAC assured Nigerians of adequate revalidation of the vaccines and prompt commencement of vaccination. Information and Culture Minister and Chairman DSO Ministerial Task Force Team, Lai Mohammed, says only rich contexts can successfully drive digitization process. The minister stated this at the inaugural meeting of the task force in Abuja. Anthony Forson reports.
Pointing out that the task force cannot afford to fail ahead of the impending massive rollout across the country, the minister was emphatic about taking the issue of content serious.
The purchase of the set-top boxes by Nigerians will depend on the richness of the content offered. Before now, we either gave out the boxes free or at subsidized rates. But now that the project is being commercially driven, the sale of STBs will depend on the content.
He was particular about sports, entertainment, movies, news, both local and foreign, as well as children's programs, which are indispensable. The minister equally noted that looking inwards will help developing the Nigerian brand.
We must also tap into the great opportunity offered by this project to help popularize the local football league. We can work with the Nigerian Professional Football League, the NPFL, to have their weekly matches shown live. I have no doubt that they will be willing to work with us in this regard.
While these are being worked on, the need for massive publicity for the project, he added, is desirable as millions of Nigerians are still unaware of the true essence of the DSO project and the opportunities therein. Already, the minister said the process of implementing the audience measurement scheme, a critical component of the success of the DSO project, will be kickstarted soon to guide all content owners and channels to be able to get commensurate benefits for their efforts. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Nigeria is proud to and will continue to promote those values that bind the Commonwealth member nations together. In a briefing to herald this year's Commonwealth Day, Minister of Education Adamu said the ministry is committed in focusing on issues around the nations of the organization's subjects, such as English language, mathematics, science and current affairs will be given priority in the series of activities for the Commonwealth commemoration.
For 2021, the members of the Commonwealth of Nations, through interrelated networks, put together their resources and expertise in order to achieve innovation that would protect their collective natural resources, ensure ocean health, that is environmental health in our oceans, empower women and girls, sustain democratic governance, boost trade and education, and help evolve measures to guard against COVID-19 pandemic for the common good of all member countries.
The Commonwealth commemoration is a unique celebration of unity in diversity by 54 countries standing on equal status and continually progressing as a formidable force in international relations. In the meantime, various stakeholders are calling for a national emergency on Nigeria's education sector to address the dilapidated state of schools in the country. Discussing fixing dilapidated schools on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria, they recommended renewed planning for contemporary development of the sector. Ekemini Williams has the report.
The recent abduction in schools indeed opened the bad state of infrastructure, especially in public schools in Nigeria. Speaking on the issue, guests who joined the program from Kaduna, Maiduguri and Abuja unanimously agree that the decadence is a product of years of neglect. This they attribute to lack of political will at all tiers of government.
What we witnessed those days was a function of very sound, strong educational planning, which today you can say is missing.
They say it is imperative to declare a national emergency on educational system. The guests are also suggesting a return of teachers training colleges, enhanced educational planning, proper deployment of the UBEC fund into infrastructure, as well as monitoring and evaluation.
Effective monitoring and evaluation from the legislators, be it the State House of Assembly and the National Assembly. One. Secondly, political will. Thirdly, personal will from the Parents Teachers Association.
The security of our children in our schools is very, very critical. And for you to provide that, there is something beyond the limit of education cycle. It is outside education. Environment where schools are sited, the security agencies to reach those in that school is very critical.
We have the Universal Basic Education Fund. It is time for that fund to go back into providing the necessary infrastructure to secure our schools.
He gave us the mandate to go back and consider the ones that have retired, do some investigations, conduct some interview. Those ones that can still come back to teach, we take them on a contract basis.
As for the government, we expect to allow everybody to come on board to contribute to the quota. That will be very much okay with the government.
The guests also reiterate that educational development requires the collective efforts of government and citizens. In Abuja, Ekemini Williams, NTA News.
The National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons has flagged off distribution of relief materials to about 1,000 IDPs in 5 local government areas of Kebbi State. Abdul Jalil Mohammed Bawa reports.
1,000 IDPs in Kebbi State could not hide their joy following the distribution of relief materials to them by the National Commission for Refugee Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons in collaboration with the Office of the Speaker, House of Representatives, Femi Bajabiamila. The National Commissioner of the Commission, Senator Bashir Garba Muhammad, who was represented by one of his directors, Sani Gulmare, said the relief materials were provided to the IDPs as part of the federal government effort to lift the IDPs out of poverty.
It's just intervention for the 5 local governments in Kebbi State. Others will follow in due course.
Items distributed to the IDPs include rice, grinding machine, water pumping machine, mattresses, among others. The IDPs were therefore urged to make good use of the items distributed to them. From Benin Kebbi, Abdul Jalil Muhammad Bawa, NTA News.
As part of plans to fulfill the promise of lifting millions of Nigerians out of poverty through a number of social intervention programs, the training of independent monitors for the Integrated National Social Investment Programs has commenced in Owerri. Beatrice Anyam reports that the training attracted participants from the 27 local government areas of Imo State.
As part of its commitment to Nigerians, the federal government set up a number of social intervention programs aimed at lifting many out of poverty. The training of independent monitors for the Integrated National Social Investment Programs across the 27 local government areas of Imo State is aimed at ensuring actualization of the goals of the poverty alleviation programs. According to the Special Advisor to the Imo State Governor on Sustainable Development Goals and Humanitarian Services, Christiana Ude, the participants will be assigned to monitor program beneficiaries in schools, households, and market clusters within their localities, with the focus of ensuring that the primary objectives of these programs are achieved. She urges the monitors to carry out their responsibility with utmost diligence and dedication, noting that the government will not hesitate to disengage anyone found violating the terms of engagement.
What you're expecting from the trainees is for them to monitor all of the programs that are taking place in the state. These independent monitors have to make sure that they don't just go and pick out all of their family members, that they're picking out people who really need these soft loans or these soft monies.
The National Social Investment Program, which include the Empower, National Homegrown School Feeding Program, and Conditional Cash Transfer, among others, were created by the present administration in 2016 to empower the poor and the vulnerable. In Owerri, Beatrice Anyam, NTA News.
The Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, has flagged off rehabilitation and reconstruction of some federal roads in Ondo State. Olubumi Iroju reports.
It's Elegbeka Road in Ose local government area of the state. This road is riddled with potholes and many failed portions, which notorious bandits and kidnappers had exploited in recent past to terrorize motorists. But help has come not only for motorists, but for the teeming farmers who have been experiencing difficulties in transporting their farm produce.
That damn way kill our KBC that day. Now that gallop away the front. Now that kidnapper day. So secondly, motor the cause accident for year for this gallop.
In the meantime, FEMA has commenced rehabilitation and reconstruction work on the 68-kilometer Owo-Ikawe and Arigidi Road.
The contractor has since mobilized to site. He has achieved about 35% of his works. Presently, this section you are seeing was a very bad section of the road. They were able to scarify and reinstate it, and the reinstatement is almost reaching its completion.
The FEMA coordinator, Olubumi Adeyemi, gave an assurance that the road will be ready by the end of March. In Akure, Olubumi Irojo, NTA News.
Susan is standing by in our Makurdi Network Center for more reports. It's over to you, Susan.
Join us in Makurdi. Governor Samuel Otom has charged the bench and bar to be committed to upholding the rule of law, equity and fairness in the dispensation of justice. The governor gave the charge at the foundation laying ceremony of High Court Complex, Alede. Charles Abba reports.
Governor Samuel Otom appreciated the synergy of the three organs of government in building democratic structures in the state. He said various laws have been enacted to ensure effective checking of unlawful activities and lauded the Benue judiciary for being one of the best in the country. He assured the judiciary that the proposed High Court edifice will be completed during his tenure.
We are here in Benue State, the executive knows about, we know our limits, and the judiciary too does theirs. The House of Assembly does theirs, because we believe in the rule of law and due process.
The Chief Judge of Benue State, Justice Andove Kakan, and the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Michael Gusa, said the presence of High Court in Alede will ease the suffering of many in accessing the judiciary and ensure quick dispensation of justice.
A High Court at Alede will lessen the burden of litigants and other people requiring the services of a High Court who have to travel all along.
By doing this, Your Excellency, you are bringing the administration of justice closer to my people here in local government.
They noted that the concept of establishing a high court in Alede has been an age-long dream. From Alede, where local government area, Benue State, Charles Abba, NTA News.
The Benue State Judicial Panel of Inquiry into Human Rights Violations by the Police has concluded hearing in a petition filed by Mrs. Monica Edo Marchin against the immediate past Commissioner of Police over alleged refusal by the police to release the corpse of his brother for burial despite a court order. Judiciary correspondent Godwin Inalibu gives an update on proceedings at the panel.
Mrs. Monica Edo Marchin had accused the police of killing her brother over alleged robbery and refusal to hand over his corpse for burial after securing a court order. She is also asking the panel to prevail on the police to return a car belonging to her father, which was seized by the police when they came to arrest her brother, now deceased. Defense counsel Friday Agu told the panel it is difficult to secure the respondent in court, having been promoted to the rank of Deputy Commissioner of Police and now on transfer to Maiduguri. Similarly, another petitioner, Mr. Joseph Tewasi, has petitioned the police demanding for justice over alleged abuse by the police. When the matter came up for hearing, Defense Counsel Friday Agu observed that the complainants, who are 3 in number, and their counsel were absent from the court on February 19, 2021 and March 2, 2021. He added that the complainants have abandoned their case and urged the panel to strike out the petition. However, a legal practitioner, Ferdinand Kusu, appeared for the complainants on behalf of the Nigerian Bar Association and asked the panel to give the complainants one more chance for the sake of fair hearing. Having listened to all the complaints, the panel adjourned to Monday, 8 March 2021 for continuation of hearing. In Makurdi, Godwin Inalegu, NTA News.
Despite federal government's assurances that there are no plans to increase the prices of petroleum products, there seem to be panic buying as queues are resurfacing at most filling stations. Ivierin Solomon, who went round the Makurdi metropolis, observed that marketers are selling the products at indiscriminate prices, while others are accused of hoarding the products.
I've moved around like 5 filling stations, and this is where I have found fuel selling 160. It's a minute that's saying like 171, 180 even.
The price increased and the fuel, we are still looking for it. I think it doesn't help the country.
These are the voices of some residents in Makurdi decrying the recent hike in price of fuel and alleged hoarding of the product by some filling station owners. They appeal to filling station owners to make the product available for motorists to buy.
We buy for 175, 170, and the worst part of it is that we'll come to the filling stations to buy for. We'll be on queue for several hours.
Follow from the depot price. I learned last week that it was 165 or 166.
NTA crew ran into the officials of the Department of Petroleum Resources (DPR) Makurdi, who were on patrol to ensure major marketers of fuel do not hoard the products but sell to consumers at the approved price.
Anywhere we go, especially where they are not selling, we make sure we dip their underground tanks. That's the main reservoir of the product. If we know if they have enough to sell, we make them sell. But then there are other ways they could have and been selling with few pumps. If we feel the volume is much, we tell them to increase the number of pumps.
He further appealed to the general public to desist from panic buying as the federal government has not declared intentions to increase the price of fuel. In Makurdi, Ivierin Solomon, NTA News.
And that does it from Makurdi. It's back to the news continues in Abuja after this timeout.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth entrepreneurship support years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
The second wave of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic is upon us.
To safeguard lives of our people, government has signed the health protection regulations, which makes wearing a face mask mandatory in public places.
Wear a mask. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Wash your hands regularly with soap and clean water. And use hand sanitizer.
COVID-19 is real. Do not be infected. Do not spread it. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Life is a game. We are cool. We are trendy. Energy moves us. Sports is our game, our oxygen. Because with the round leather, we ball. We hustle. All over the land, north and south, we are united in the pursuit of glory. We are encapsulated by HIFL. We live for the game. It's game time. Showing on NTA Network.
After a tough loss in London last weekend, Burnley will take on another North London club as they seek to get back to winning ways. This Saturday, it's Burnley versus Arsenal on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 1 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Axis Bank, Bye Jebu, Lipton, and Close Up, in association with Gold.com.
Welcome back. Electrical faults sparked a minor fire incident at the Army Headquarters Complex, Abuja, Tuesday morning. A statement by the Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Muhammad Yerima, says the incident occurred at about 10:15 a.m. as a result of minor electrical faults in one of the offices. The Nigerian Army Fire Service Department immediately put out the fire without casualty. Brigadier General Yerima notes that the Army Headquarters Complex is currently undergoing renovation. Now, certain treatable health challenges commonly found amongst the poor and vulnerable can be frustrating, especially when resources to access medication are not available. There is hope for Kamfanin Fate Jaji, one of the host communities of the Armed Forces Command and Staff College Jaji, as Martin Luther Agua International Peacekeeping Center deploys its medical personnel and equipment to provide medical services to the community. Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachukun reports.
Angel Ibrahim is 70. She has been battling with visual impairment for over a decade. Angel has been diagnosed and treated by the team of medical experts deployed by the Martin Luther Agway International Peacekeeping Center, Jaji. She is among the 2,000 beneficiaries of the outreach. Premised on the cordial relationship between the military and the host community. The exercise is part of the training activities for participants of civil-military coordination and pre-deployment training of Nigerian Company 6 of Economic Community of West African States Mission in Gambia.
The Chief of Army Staff has emphasized 4 important pillars of his command towards actualizing this vision. These pillars are readiness, duty to country, capacity, and continuous leadership development. This medical outreach is also a way to demonstrate our readiness while performing our duty to country.
After diagnosis, those found with severe cases will be referred to the Peacekeeping Center's Medical Center for definitive tests and treatments. Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachkun, NTA News.
And on sports, African nations converge for volleyball tournament in Abuja. Samuel Johnson is our guide on sports updates.
President of the Nigeria Volleyball Federation, Musa Nimrod, has expressed concern over the impact of COVID-19 on the upcoming Africa Under-18 and Under-19 volleyball championships scheduled for Abuja, Nigeria, with the withdrawal of some countries due to the dreaded virus. Reports indicate that Central African Republic and Tunisia have withdrawn, while some countries have arrived for the championship. From the continental scene, group opponents of Nigeria's Eyimba Football Club of Aba, El Setif of Algeria, will host Orlando Pirates on match day 1 in Ghana. El Setif announced Monday evening that they have received approval from the Ghanaian government and Football Association. Pirates will thereafter host Eyimba on match day 2 of the tournament. Action returns in the Nigeria Women Football League with match day 8 fixtures across the country. On Wednesday, FC Robo plays host to Dream Stars. Rivers Angels will tackle Royal Queens, while Sunshine Queens face Pelican Stars. In the English Premier League, Week 29 fixtures slated for Wednesday will see Sheffield United continue its struggle to escape relegation when it takes on Aston Villa. Burnley tackles Leicester City, while Crystal Palace play host to Manchester United. In another news, the sports fraternity in Lagos are excited about the reopening of the National Stadium for sporting activities after about 10 months of closure.
It's good to be back.
Body have changed because they don't train again, because they believe in stadium, but we thank God they open stadium.
The National Edifice welcomed various sports academies and other sports enthusiasts. With sports update, Samuel Johnson, NTA News.
And that concludes Nationwide for today. We thank you so much for watching. And do remember to connect with the NTA Stand Against Rape and Rapists. Bye for now.